Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however and whenever you're practicing. In today's practice, we're going to need 2 blocks, a strap, and a bolster. And we'll start today in a heavy child's pose. Let your big toes touch. Let your belly be heavy. Walk your fingers in front of you. And you might take a few moments here to let your body arrive into this shape. We are leading with svadishthana chakra, the water center, the seat of manifestation and creativity. And just notice as we start to do a few body scans in this shape, if you might be holding, gripping, hardening with any tension in your body. And begin to notice your breath, and you might even rock your head side to side, forehead on your mat. Scan the eyes. Notice if the eyes are tightly shut. Can you soften the eyes? Relax the jaw. Notice if your shoulders are up by your ears and if you have tension in the arm bones and fingers. Notice if the rib cage is heavy and sticking out and there's a little arch in the back and you lengthen the tailbone. Notice if your ankles and knees are supported, and ask yourself if you might need to place a blanket underneath them. Notice the bottoms of the feet and the tops of the feet. And then slowly walk the arms over to the right side. Let your left shoulder, let your left hip bone be heavy. Notice how the side of your body might be feeling in this moment. Can you practice just observing without attachment, without labeling? And slowly walk the hands back to center, elongate the spine, feel traction here, and then walk the hands over to the opposite side. Tailbone heavy, jaw at ease. The more we try to contain or control the rhythm of the breath, the rhythm of our body, the more we try to control our lives, whether or not we are consciously aware. Remembering that there is the subconscious, the unconscious, and the conscious. What we don't know, what we know, but it's on a level that is sub. So it's known in the body, but not in the mind yet. And then what is conscious? And all of these aspects of ourselves, when we practice fluidity, is an integration of bringing the unconscious and the subconscious to the conscious. And walk your hands back to center. And then slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Let the head be heavy. And staying in this posture, if it feels good for you, lift the heart, lift the gaze here. And let your exhalation round your spine. Making the adjustments that feel right for you. Lifting the heart on the inhalation, stretching the breath. This is a feeling practice. Exhale, round the spine. What does it feel like in my body? What does it feel like to be breathed? Inhale, opening up to light, radiance, magnetism. Let your exhalation begin, and the breath leads the body, charging and transforming with light. Take this a few more times on your own and simply observe. Do I feel the need to keep opening my eyes? Oh, it's a reflection of fear, trauma. And we can continue to create that loop, anticipation, anxiety. And all it does is bring the containment. Again, February is the month of svadishthana chakra. It brings the containment of the box, that planter's box, to a smaller and smaller rigid space. Where can you expand the limits? Think of it as property lines, right? If you have 20 acres of land, you know that there are boundaries of the land, but it seems vast and expansive. If you have 0.25 acres, the visual of the land is a little bit smaller, a little bit more contained. So we need containment, we need property lines, we need boundaries. But we want to keep the containment for ourselves vast. We know it's there, but we're not going past the edge. Again, maybe that lands differently today. Going towards your edge or your property line, but not crossing that boundary. And we'll bring the right ear over to the right side shoulder again, practicing fluidity today. Notice if you're staccato, opening the eyes, peeking, then drawing. Like, where can we start to soften those lines of black and white and gray? And notice when you look at a spectrum, the colors flow into one another. It's not just red and orange, but there is a hue, a range of maybe 30, 40 different shades between those, even more. It's letting the breath lead the chin now down diagonally to the right side shoulder. And if it's one thing we can learn to practice from the asana practice, lifting the chin diagonally up, is how can I integrate? How can I integrate the knowledge, the philosophy, what I hear, what I receive, the yamas, how I treat others, how I treat myself? How can I integrate that into a life practice? It's not an exercise. It's not a workout. It's a work in. Left ear over to the left side shoulder, right shoulder's heavy. And again, notice if you're jarring. And there's something about artistry. Artists have that gift of being able to seamlessly thread, whether it's a symphony, whether it's a dancer, chin diagonally down. You don't dance on top of the beat. Science is now putting out articles about how structured dance has healing properties. A friend of mine sent me an article last night and said she thought of me. I said, yes, finally they're catching up with what I've been saying. Tilt the chin diagonally up. But we can take that structure, and I'll use dance, for instance, as an example. The rigid mind starts to compare, starts to be pulled out, starts to critique, It's called vritti. Let's start to take this into neck circles. Again, close the eyes and see if you can listen. Just letting your chin guide you. 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. There's no rush. Asana is meant to bring prana, life, to different parts of our body. But the minute we hold the breath, the minute we have that stagnancy of energy where the line is not continuous, you're capping your consciousness and you are unbounded. Release the opposite way. And if you can practice the fluidity instead of the destination, past or present, past or future rather, it keeps you present. Not rushing ahead, anxious about the future. Got an appointment, gotta go here, right? The water's spilling out. Gave that reference last week. And it's not stagnant, or it's only in one place, one area. If you haven't gone the opposite way, make sure you're doing that. And take a few moments here as you start to just release the tension of the neck, the jaw. You might shake the head side to side. Might spend a little bit more time on one side, letting the shoulder be heavy. Again, really practicing the containment, but broadening the boundary lines of what that looks like, what that feels like. And you're able to do that, you are practicing going with the ebb and flow of life. And then let's reach the arms up. Take a smooth breath here to inhale. Exhale, draw the palms down the midline of the body. And as we continue to practice our fluidity through this month of February, integrating the pieces that might feel uncomfortable, the pieces that are in the shadows and the depths of the realms, but sometimes we need to brush off the cobweb. Where can we lean inward? What needs our love? What needs washing, water, cleanse? And where can I practice with a little bit more love and fluidity and grace into my practice today? Have that be an intention. Dedicate your practice to you today. The water center governs grace, graceful movement. As we practice grace, graceful movement today, slowly draw the chin towards the chest. You can keep the eyes closed or half gaze. There's nothing to see. Again, practicing feeling. Come up onto hands and knees. And broadening across the chest and collarbone. Inhale, face looks up. Exhale, round the spine, press the fingers down, navel into the back body. And as we continue to take these cat-cows, today, maybe you start to move the hips with it, the head. And again, if you need to pad your knees, this is not a hard and fast practice. Life does not have any rigid boundaries. It's fluid. What may be viable and serving in this moment may not serve in the next. And if cat-cow feels good for you, continue to take that. If you're moving in one direction, move the opposite direction. head, neck, chest. The more we practice grace with our movements, grace with our communication, right? How we communicate if we're communicating harshly. We may think our intention is clear. We may not be aware of how our body language comes across. You'll find that the more grace you practice in your life, conscious grace, the sweeter life unfolds for you. We'll all make our way to neutral spine and tuck your toes underneath you and fluidly lift the hips up and back at a 𝗔𝗿𝘁𝗀𝘁, downward facing dog. Pedaling the heels out. Anchoring. Might trail the lips here. No rush. And take that right leg straight up and back. Keep stretching the breath. Notice if it's staccato, can you keep reaching it? Extending the breath. Exhale, step that right foot in between the hands. Use the blocks as you need. Again, you have agency to turn up the dial. Right arm reaches up, twisted lunge. Can make your life harder, make your life more graceful. Circumduction of the arm, circle it down and around. Step that left leg forward, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back. Exhale, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And hold on to the elbows here, we ragdoll our body. Anchoring into the big toe mounds, the earth lines. And switch the crossing of the elbows, the arms, and then notice if you're just moving the arm bones, can you move the torso so that way the low back, the lumbar, the hips have a chance to release. Release the hands and walk your palms slowly up the fronts of your thighs. Observe. Observe if you're already there, if you're rushing. Right? Are you in your masculine energy? Palms face forward, Samastiti. And just fill yourself right now with grace. Notice what that feels like to stand in graceful power. And reach the arms around and up, vritti. Exhale, pour that weight forward, Uttanasana. Belly towards the thighs. Inhale, lengthen, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And then exhale the right leg back. Exhale the left leg back. And pause in your plank here. Again, you have agency over the dial tone. Slow chaturanga down. You can do this with or without your knees. Are you hardening? Can you practice with grace? Lifting the heart, baby cobra. Notice if you're hardening. Exhale, release. Let the breath begin and lift the heart again. Maybe this time you slide the hands behind. Again, undoing what your mind, what you're conditioned to do. Exhale, release. And we're going to reach back for that right leg. And hold on to the right ankle. Keep working the shoulders back. And as best as you can, if that right heel doesn't quite make it to the buttock, that's okay. But just observe yourself. How are you navigating this shape or getting into this shape? Are you fighting? Fighting the boundary? And then release. And then call that left leg. What choices are we making? Right? We always have choice, and that's what svadishthana chakra is about. It gives us those polarities. And to balance the polarities means to find sattva for us. balance, homeostasis. Otherwise, we blame. We make a choice and we blame somebody else. It's because of you. This person didn't give me this. My partner, my business partner, my partner in life, whatever it is. My children, the neighbor. Release. Maybe you pause there. Maybe you slide the hands back. You take this into upward. Again, are you yanging out? Exhale, find your way back to down dog. Fluidly, gracefully. Elongation of the breath, elongation of the line. And where can you feel joyful and good in your body? That's really what asana is about. And take that left leg straight up. Left toes like you're pressing into a wall. Keep extending the line of energy. Notice what that feels like in the right calf, in the back heel. It should feel good. If it feels laborious, you've gone too far. Off your property line. Left leg steps forward. Hands to blocks. Left arm reaches up, twisted lunge. And once again, notice if you're stopping the breath. Can you keep extending the energy through the fingertips, filling the armpit, breathing into the side ribs? There's energy in motion here. Left hand down to the earth. Step that right leg forward. Help it up. Inhale, flat back. Generous bend. Belly to the thighs, Uttanasana. We stay here. We slide the palms underneath the feet. Walk the big toes towards the wrist. Fingertips towards the heels. Parahasta. Inhale, grow the spine. And then exhale, deepen forward. There are bandhas on the soles of the feet, energy locks that move all the way down into the earth. And the motor cortex, 33%, is in the hands, which is why when we practice gestures, mudras, signs, and seals, they stimulate the brain's activity. And we have agency to rewrite the script at any time. Flip the palms, walk onto the backs of the hands. Again, notice if you are jerky, if you need to look up and see, can I listen? It's an indication of whether or not I can listen to my inner calling. Big toes towards the wrists. And sometimes we think, right? Because they're so conditioned, we're thinking. It's a pattern. It's called a parinama. I see it all the time. Oh, I don't want to be in corporate anymore. I want to be an entrepreneur. Oh, I don't want the corporate life. But are you still living corporate hours? Your being is corporate. You are containing yourself within corporate boundaries, even though you may not have a corporate job. Right? So, very important for us to observe ourselves and then find what works best for us. But then being really honest. That's where the water washes away any debris that might be hiding the truth from ourselves. Release the hands and walk yourself up slowly. Head arrives last. Samastiti. Palms face forward. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, straight back down, Uttanasana. Stretching the breath. Should feel like you're moving through a river. Inhale, lengthen the spine. There's no rush. Exhale, take your time as you make your way back to plank. And then with grace and with ease, where can you elongate the breath? Where can you slowly start to bend the elbows? Maybe bend the knees and work towards lowering down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Lift the heart. Bhujangasana, baby cobra. And then notice if you're hardening, release. Working within the means of your body. Inhale, lift again. Toes press down. Notice where you're fighting. Just observe. Get good at observing yourself. Become aware. It's the first part of change behavior. Release. Stay down and reach back for that left leg. Fear is held in the fronts of the thighs. And it can be fearful when we clear the debris to see what's really there. And the first part of change is becoming aware. The very intro first part would be observing. Once you observe yourself, then you can become aware. But the change doesn't happen with the cerebral mind. It happens on the subtle field. So we use our conscious mind in our waking thoughts. Release that left leg, reach the right leg back. To make those subtle shifts. And that's what neuroplasticity is about. Rewiring those programs so that new software is running for optimum alignment. We even have these terms with our laptops. Optimization. And that's because we are running on programs. But it's up to each individual to notice, observe, become aware, and then consciously make the choice of whether or not you want to stay with the old operating system or upgrade. Release the right leg. Your choice here, maybe you take baby cobra again or you slide into upward facing. It should feel fluid. Back to down dog, however you need. Now on your next inhalation, take that right leg straight up. Roll the right leg on top of the left, bend the right heel over. Square the shoulders here. And step the right foot behind the right wrist. Left foot a little left of center. Rise into your warrior one. And we'll take the arms out to the side. Internal rotation. Send the arms back. And then lift the heart here. And keep squaring the hips as you bow forward, humble warrior, belly on top of the thigh. Use your feet like a steering wheel to draw the right hip back and the left hip forward. Super important to square the shoulders, square the hips. And working within where you can sustain. I believe it was Theodore Roosevelt who said, comparison is the thief of joy. Don't come for me if I'm not quoting the right author. And I will have to look that up again. But that's such a poignant quote. The minute we start to compare who's doing what do I need to look like, instead of what am I feeling, where can I maintain the longevity of my breath, we steal the joy out of the present moment. Release the arms. Warrior one, nice big breath. Hands towards your blocks. Hop that back leg up. Pyramid pose, left leg a little left off of center. Hands directly underneath your shoulders. All 10 toes face the same direction. Grow the spine long. Exhale, pour yourself forward over that front thigh. And then anchor into the back heel. And again, become consciously aware. Are your toes, back toes, moving on a 45 degree? Can you mimic your body in this moment? Different heights for the blocks. Some of us might need 2, 3, 4 props, might need a chair. That's totally fine. Can I look like an Egyptian hieroglyphic? All 10 toes, same direction. Head is heavy. Body is supported. We all have different heights, different anatomies. So it's kind of silly to want to look like or mimic somebody else's posture. If we really think about it, if someone has longer arms or longer legs or a longer spine. And when we bow down, we allow ourselves to become humble, to release that excess vata, that excess air. Hands back to the blocks, grow the spine long here. And then step that left leg forward, help it up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold it forward, Uttanasana. And then stretch the breath, right? Again, artists happen to have this innate connection to artistry, but somehow that goes out of our brains when we're on the mat. We become very yoga, Western yoga, palms down the midline. Where can you create this fluid circuit of energy? The body's still moving, the arms are still moving, the breath is still moving, so why are you in one static position? Circle the arms around and up again. Inhale. Exhale, palms down the midline of the body. You're going to pause at the heart center and shift your weight to the left leg. Again, there's no rush. Just because I'm cueing it doesn't mean I've done it yet. Right leg is off for your body. Hinge it forward. Kick that right leg back. Warrior 3. Blocks are underneath you. Again, practicing that fluidity, that grace. Right leg comes in. There's no rush. Right leg next to left. Circle the arms around and up. Palms down the midline of the body. Left leg comes up. Hinge it forward. Take your time. Practice that fluidity. Warrior 3. And then draw that left leg back in. So practice a dance between inhalation and exhalation. Left leg next to right. Sweep the arms around and up, or forward and up. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and take your choice of the transition. We'll all meet in down dog. There's no rush. Some of you might take chaturanga with a jump back, up dog, down dog. Some of you might take a baby cobra. Some of you might skip it. The ability to practice, I like to call it technique, because I relate it to technique. Anytime you went into a dance class, still, I go into ballet class, there's still bar. I know because I used to teach ballet and I was a ballet dancer for many years. We always start with pliés, then we progress to tendus, then dégagés, then rond de jambes. We warm up the body. And after rond de jambes, then maybe we'll start with some batmas and of course an adagio and then jumps at the bar. It's 45 minutes just of technique. Before we get to the center and we learn across the floor, which is before the combination. So now you've gotten an hour of technique. And all of that is to prepare you for the fluidity that you're going to integrate into said combo. And within the combo, within the choreography, someone might do a double pirouette, while another person might do a quad or 9. That is that person's discretion, what they can handle within that combo, within that time frame, within their breath, and without needing to be a diva because there's somebody else behind you as you're going in groups, left leg up. Roll that left leg on top of the right and bend that left heel over to the right side. This is technique. Asana is technique. Step that left leg forward, help it up. Step it behind the left wrist, and then find your technique for yourself. Right foot a little right of center. There's no difference between the grace. Seal the outer edge and then rise in warrior 1. It just hasn't been explained that way. And once you feel this shape, notice if you're sinking down. Again, can you find that grace where you're pushing down and rising up at the same time? It's no different. It's the same equation that you need for a pirouette. Take the arms out to the side. Internal rotation, send the arms back. And then lift the heart, lift the gaze. 45 degrees, belly on top of the thighs. The feet are like steering wheels. Left hip moves back, right hip moves forward. Bow down. And if the palms don't quite clasp, again, if the palms are not touching, use the strap. Use a tie. Use something to make your life more easeful so that way when you get to the choreography of your life and you're no longer at the quote-unquote bar or off the mat, you're not injured, but you're fluid and you're graceful because you've warmed up your body according to your needs. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. And then rise. Use the full breath. Biceps long by the ears. Hands towards the blocks as you hop that right leg up. Again, 3 different heights. Right leg off to the side, pyramid pose here. All 10 toes, same direction. Blocks underneath the hands. Anchor into the back heel and lift the heart. Exhale as you pour yourself forward gracefully, making the adjustments you need for your anatomy. No different than going into, once again, a ballet class, and someone has warm-up sweats, while another has plastic pants like I do. What do you need for your body? Some people need double socks to keep their ankles and their toes warm. Some people wear leg warmers. Some people, I used to be like, I needed my body completely warm. I would, even in summers, be dancing in the turtleneck. Needed my joints, my muscles. While someone else may be completely fine in a leotard. The practice itself is also individual. Just like this. Roll the spine long. Inhale. Right leg meets the left. Exhale. Fold it forward. And then take your time as you stretch the arms around and up. It's an adagio. You stretch the breath, you stretch the music. Palms down the midline of the body. This time the left leg is going to come up, but there's no rush. Why? Because I just said it's an adagio. And then you know where we're going because you already know the combination. Lean forward, kick that left heel behind you, warrior 3. This is how you practice fluidity. This is the artistry. This is the dance of asana. Left leg comes in. Take your time. Remembering that the palms help us to balance. Left leg next to right. Can you continue the movement? Right? The phrasing of the music is still going. The phrasing of the music is the breath. Circle the arms around and up. Exhale, palms down the midline of the body. The right leg comes up. Hinge it forward, gracefully, easefully, setting yourself up with what you need. Maybe the fingertips to the blocks. There is no right or wrong. This is your expression across the floor. No one's looking at you. So why are you looking at somebody else? Inhale. Palms together, right leg comes up. Right leg next to left. Samastiti. Stand in your power, stand in your grace, and feel the heart open. And then again, as if you're hearing a beautiful piece of music, the adagio starts again. Circle the arms around and up. Exhale, palms down the midline of the body. Let it pour forward into your soul. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And then your choice of 16 counts here. We call that the vinyasa. 16 counts to flow how you need. to express what you need. Call that the vinyasa. Maybe it's bhujangasana, maybe it's up dog, maybe it's baby cobra, maybe it's resting. The more you practice yang, the more your life will be yang. The more you practice yin, being, you'll get better at being with whatever comes your way. We're going to set ourselves up now to open up the hips in pigeon pose. So if you know that pigeon is not something that feels favorable for your body, we'll take ankle to knee pose. I'll demonstrate that because I want you to feel restful in this shape. So 90 degrees, and we're going to evert the foot. Again, this is just option one, so just pay attention for a moment and decide what feels right. My hips are very tight this week, so I'm going to evert. That means work the baby toe towards the outside of my, this is the left thigh, so outside of the thigh. And I'm keeping my hands here just to show you, so that way the pelvis isn't dipping. So once my pelvis is level, and again, this is option one within ankle to knee pose. Leveling the pelvis, being sure that the hands are here. Second option would be, if you feel good, 90-degree cactus arms. Again, the foot is still working. It's not sloshing around like a floppy fish. Third option would be, again, this foot doesn't go dead. There's energy throughout the feet. So that means that it becomes an active variation, right? So my feet are flexed, my triceps are working to open up this thigh. You can also keep that left leg down. Now, if you are going into pigeon pose, I highly recommend having some extra props, some blankets if you need. And then one more time, if you're taking the active variation, take that right leg up, roll it on top of the right hip, of the left hip, excuse me, and square the shoulders. Again, notice that my body isn't tilting, but open up that hip first, squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders. And then from there, I take my time. So there's an internal rotation. So I'm really lubricating the joints. And I set myself up here. Instead of folding forward, I use the blocks. Ooh, you might have heard that hip open. To then discern, okay, as I said, my hips are very tight this week. So I'm going to place a block. It needs it on the lowest height for this level first. And I bring my other blocks out to the side. I can see that my shoulders are square over my hips. The minute we start to fold forward, we're not in alignment. So if you need to start on a higher level, you do that, right? And this helps to open up the hips, the outer hips. We stay for about 5 rounds of full breath first, if you're taking the active variation of pigeon. Again, this helps to align the shoulders and the hips. And that full, complete breath should feel as if it is a beautiful symphony. And then if you want to fold forward, of course, fold forward. What tends to happen a lot of times with pigeon pose, which is actually why I don't incorporate it, give you the reason why I don't incorporate it quite a lot unless I'm teaching a restorative class, is because people collapse into the pose. And if you are balancing sattvically in shapes, you'll know that it's not about favoring one side or the other. So if you are in need of bowing forward and resting, therefore that means that you need a restorative posture. It means that you should be holding or in that shape for at least 10 minutes. But then we have this tendency to throw, or you see it a lot in practices, And I say throw because that's what it feels like. It feels like you're throwing pigeon into the mix, but you're really not allowing the elongation of that back leg, right? It's not just about folding forward. It really is about squaring the hips. You might have noticed today's practice, svadishthana, lots of hips, lots of alignment. Forward fold with pyramid pose, humble warrior, drawing the back hip, drawing the front hip back, back hip forward. And now pigeon pose. Where can I balance the sacred waters? And then once you start to settle in, where can you start to surrender to what might be opening up for you? Might be the back leg, the outer buttock, the outer hip. Might even be your shoulders if you are in ankle to knee. Right? There's activation happening when the hands thread through to the left thigh. Notice if the shoulders are rounding. Can you separate the shoulder blades? Still holding on to the thigh. And if you're forcing or collapsing, make the adjustment that you need. Maybe you don't hold on to the thigh. The hips are synonymous with our pace of life. Many times, energetically, when I've had students come to me to work on their hips or work through energy blockages, again, associated with manifestation, sacral chakra, emotions. The hips give us information of whether or not we are stagnant in our lives, clinging to the past, or if we're so wound up moving forward in the future. And you can see that with cyclists, right? It's the same repetitive movement, forward, 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 forward. And the same thing if we look at the soles of our feet, you can see if somebody is really digging into the heels. It shows me if they are tamasic, if they are very resistant and stuck in the past, very kapha, stuck in the earth, rigid in their ways. And I'll give you a visualization. As an artist, it helps me to have different images. So if it helps you, take what resonate. What will resonate with you? If a Jeep or a car, an automobile, happens to drive through, let's say, wet snow, and now the path has become muddy, what tends to happen? They step on the gas to try to get it out faster. That's the same thing with the hips, right? We go from one extreme, being stuck, let's say stuck in the mud, to full throttle. Get it out, step on the gas. And what ends up happening, those of you that are drivers or have been in this situation, you know exactly what happens. You dig yourself deeper. And then eventually what happens? You've got to surrender, ask for help, call AAA, or find a friend that has some heavy chains or whatever it is. And that's exactly what these tools are. We cannot do it ourselves. We can allow, the guru is the gatekeeper of, am I going to accept, after observing and becoming aware, Am I going to accept and lean towards the tools that I need to get out of this mud? Take a smooth breath to inhale, whichever variation you're in. Don't let the eyes lead you, but let your cueing and let what your body is now receiving, because I will be moving very differently from you. So if you're an ankle to knee, uncross that right leg and let your feet be underneath your knees. And just take a moment as your palms lay on your sacred belly area. And then if you're folded forward in pigeon, an active pigeon, take your time. Again, there's no rush. Walking your shoulders over your hips. If you're an active pigeon like I am, very slowly, we're going to make our way back very slowly in your time, your variation, to downward facing dog. That's going to be different for each person. So we respect the alignment of the vehicle, the instrument of your body in this moment. And if you're in down dog, take that left leg up. Roll the left hip on top of the right and bend the left heel to the right side. And notice if you're in that activation of already moving forward, right? Gotta get it done. Just digging yourself deeper. Can you square the shoulders? Can you keep reaching that left heel? You're opening up the side body. You're preparing it so you're not getting stuck in the mud. These very tiny steps do help us. But you have agency to ignore it or apply it. This is where choice, svadishthana, resides. Slowly internal rotation. So feel the inner thighs work in here. It's very subtle. And then draw that left leg in. Again, protecting your joints, protecting your body. If you are an ankle to knee, you're going to cross that left ankle over the top of the right. I'll cue you in a second. If you're in active pigeon, hands to the blocks, reach the shoulders over the hips, and then notice how much room you might have. You might need to slide a block. You might need to put a blanket. 5 rounds of breath as you stack the shoulders over the hips before you start to fold forward. Ankle to knee on your back, left ankle over the top of the right thigh, you're everting the left toes. It means working towards the outer part of that right thigh. And then scan the body. Remember, one side is always a little bit more user-friendly. Maybe you keep that right foot on the floor and you just work the outer part of the left thigh. Option 2, maybe you bring the arms into a soft cactus. You support the back body. Option 3, you peel that right leg off of the earth. You thread the arms through. Hold on to the right thigh. You keep flexing your foot. Again, this is an active ankle to knee. And you use the strength of that left elbow, left tricep to open up that outer hip. And there's activity always happening, right? Just because we're not conscious of it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. When you're asleep, it doesn't mean that your food isn't digesting. It doesn't mean that your body isn't metabolizing waste. You're just not conscious of it. And until I bring your consciousness, your awareness to go, oh, yeah, that's right. then we bring the unconscious to the conscious. And if we start to examine, like a scientist, become curious, not defensive, but if we start to examine, and again, it starts with observing. Can I observe myself? Can I become aware of how I'm coming across, what my choices are? Not offense, defense. That also lives there, but it's a lower shadow. Right? When you're in offense, defense versus observation and awareness, offense, defense is unhealed shadow within svadishthana. And then we feel the need to overtalk, over-explain, and justify why we do or why we say or why we did what we did. And we start to draw the awareness. We start to realize that bringing the unconscious, you heard me say that last week in the discourse, we don't bring the consciousness down to the darkness. You bring the darkness to the light, the unconscious to the conscious. And folks, that's what this shape represents, right? There's activity happening here. You're not just passively in this shape. There is conscious movement happening. That back thigh is opening up, the psoas, the 𝗀𝘁𝘀. If you're on your back, you might be feeling your glute, might be feeling the outer hip, might be feeling the shoulders. If you're an ankle to knee on your back, uncross that left leg and walk your feet underneath your knees and just let the pelvis align in a parallel position. So the knees and the feet are directly in line with the buttocks and you're just resting there. We'll meet you there. If you are folded forward, please take your time, respect your body temple, make your way to this shape where the shoulders are over the hips. And then the beauty of ending in this shape is that we'll slowly come out of it, what I like to call the lazy way. So you'll remove whatever props are there. Bring that back leg around. Again, take your time. Lengthen the legs in front of you. And then slowly start to make your way down to the earth. And we'll bring the feet underneath the knees just to balance the pelvis. Very important to maintain just a neutral position here. Let's bring the hands to the hips and keeping the eyes closed. Notice if you can feel if one hip is higher than the other and just level the pelvis now. Once you start to feel that the pelvis is balancing, without disturbing the movement of your spine or any other area of the body, you might float the hands alongside the hips, palms up. Or you might bring them into 90-degree cactus arms. Again, less movement here. We end today in conscious rest, where the feet are underneath the knees, where the spine and the pelvis are supported by the earth. And let the eyes close. Let the tongue drop to the bottom half of your mouth. Let your body be held. Come back into a space of visualization. Visualize through the top of your crown this beautiful, clear, clean chalice of water pouring through your crown and just cleansing your brain, your mind. Let it wash behind the eyes. Feel this cleansing water washing the ears and ear canals, the tongue, the jaw. Let it wash over your throat, over your shoulders and elbows and arm bones. Feel that cleansing water washing over the heart, the belly, the back, body, and spine. And let it wash over the pelvic bowl and hips and filling it with clean water, balanced. Let it wash over the tops of the thighs, washing out any fear, backs of the thighs where the unconscious resides. Let it wash out the back of the knees and kneecaps, backs of the calves, shin bones. Let it wash the feet, the tops of the feet, soles of the feet. Let it wash in between the toes. And just feel yourself washed anew in this moment, cleansed, healed, nourished. Om Shanti. Feeling peace with yourself. Shanti. Peace with others. Shanti Om. Peace with the very forces governing all life. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Press the tongue to the roof of your mouth and slide it behind the upper teeth. Lightly rub your thumbs over each fingertip. And then take your time, again, really observe how your sacrum and pelvis and low back are feeling. Some of you might feel inclined to bring the knees towards the chest and press the low back into the earth. And some of you might be inclined to just simply let the knees fall over to the right and let your body be guided to the right side as well. Either way, listening to the wisdom of the physical body now, guide yourself to the right side without rushing, and guide yourself to any comfortable seat with your head arriving last. And then press the palms to the heart center and feel this merging, this union of duality. This mudra helps us to balance what we see and what we don't see, our containment and our energy. So we bow down to the tools, the guides, and the wisdom that has been passed from rishis and seers and gurus and healers and teachers. Om Shri Sat Guru Paramatma Namaha. To the teachers and the teachers' teachers who have shared and poured into me so I can pour it forward into you. Bow down to the wisdom of the heart. Surrender there and let your love guide you. Thanks so much for joining. Namaste. Surya Mudra seals your practice. Right hand makes a fist, cover it with the left. Press it below the navel, lean forward. And feel yourself grounded, rooted in your practice and rooted in yourself so that you can flourish off the mat. Come straight back up.